Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm showing this because this wasn't the last car. I have since bought a 56 Nash Statesman, and I'm pretty sure before the end of the weekend I'll bought another 55 Thunderbird and maybe another 51 Packard. So we'll see what. Oh yeah, the Packard behind it. Let's see. I don't know if no, I didn't change anything today. I don't know why the Nash. Only because it was in such good condition that I couldn't pass it up. It was pretty much flawless. Okay. Oh, let's see. I think I had a 1967 Plymouth. Was it a Plymouth Valiant station wagon with a push button? I think that pink was the original color, yes. All right. Yeah, I think that's where the slant six also. All right, as we saw today in the Dow, we had kind of a consolidation, which wouldn't be unexpected after it moved up so strong over the last couple of days. But the important factor was that it didn't sell off. It just kind of consolidated and came back up to the top of the trading range. Same scenario with the S&P 500. But the strong indication during the day was nothing was selling off because ever since the open, the NASDAQ continued to trade higher all day long. So once again, that just kind of gives us more evidence that as long as they're above the T line, we're going to stay long. Does everybody have a chart? Yes. I don't know what the trading computers page is. All right, so we're again, as long as we're above the T line. The only one that really had any concern today was the transportation index, which sold off hard. But really, what this kind of illustrated is that this market isn't in a strong uptrend. It's not in a strong downtrend. There's different sectors that are acting well. So that still makes for a lot of good bullish trades, probably more so than the bearish trades right now because investor sentiment is building back up. So let's do this. We'll go through the commodities real quick. The crude oil, this is why I always say watch to see what it does once it gets to the next resistance level. So right now we've got kind of a downtrending resistance level, and it did a doji right at that level, or a spinning top. So if it opens lower, that pretty much tells us this downtrending channel is in progress. You can start shorting crude oil again. Let's see, gold. Well, what's going on here? Gold's trying to move back up, but it's doing it in a very slow manner, whereas silver is relatively flat. It's not going anywhere. The dollar is caught in this sideways channel. I suspect it will probably bounce off the 50 or maybe 1 or 2 more days to the downside until it hits the bottom of this trend channel. But it's really not worth trading. The euro at the top of the trend channel came up to the 50 and this trend channel, so if it opens lower, it's heading back down. Let's see, the British pound still trades by itself. That's sideways, so the currencies are not showing us anything that would get real excited about. And I was trading cotton today, which had a nice, strong profit to the upside, and then they came out with some report, I guess the government report, saying there's nothing too exciting about the supply and demand, and it just crashed. So fortunately, I made some profit here, covered it here, and then reshorted here, because what we could basically see was a bearish J-hook pattern, so made for a good trading day. And again, this is the 10-minute chart, or I'm sorry, this is the 5-minute chart. 10-minute chart is kind of what I use as a bellwether. This tells me when it's time to get in. This tells me when it's time to get back out. And I kind of speed that up by going to the 5-minute chart to see if they're kind of running a little bit ahead of Zach, second out of yeah, no tall cotton. So, anyways, this makes for the possibility that I think they open up in a little bit here, but if they start trading down after hours, it's probably coming back to test the T-line. And the same scenario with soybeans. It did a shooting star. There's your doji opening lower. More than likely, it's coming down to hit the T-line. Let's see. All right. Oh, the Japanese yen. Japanese yen looks like it. I can't tell what it's doing. It opened higher, traded lower, so it's having a hard time getting back up above the T-line. Let's make this where we can see it a little bit better. So I would suspect the Japanese yen is coming back down toward the 50-day moving average. All right. So I was going to try to have some sort of topic tonight, but unfortunately there were so many good charts out there that I figured we better just probably go through the charts versus trying to hit a topic, because there's going to be a lot that, let's see, natural gas after the big bearish engulfing signal is still on its way down. I guess I better move the stochastics up here. Still on its way down. I'd suspect it's coming back at least to the 50-day moving average. And copper be important to see how they open this. If they open this below the T-line, you're going to be in a little bearish J-hook pattern, which means, especially if they open it lower, they're planning on taking this down further. Can you move the bottom of your chart up? Okay. Okay, good. All right, yeah. I had a little off center there. Let me move this over. Okay. Lots of good looking charts out there. So with the market looking like it's not backing off, I still like Scotty. Scotty's got a chart that pretty much telling us if this is wave one, This is wave one. If they break this out through this level right here, they're going to take this up to about the $100 range, because that'd be wave one, wave two, going into wave three. And soda was another one that was reacting because of the was it Green Mountain going with Coca-Cola. As long as this had a gap up, had consolidation, now they're bringing it back up. If they get it out into this gap area, they're going up here to fill this gap right to the 50. So that's, and then after that, we'll just have to see what they do once they get to the 50. That was soda. We had recommended NLNK. Which was also doing the slow curve. Wave one, wave two, going into wave three. That should have some more upside. And let me see what else we got here. Started buying live again today, because it had that little gap up on Friday, opened lower, but started coming right back up again. So you got that little mini scoop pattern. If this does a slingshot effect, they should bring this back up to test this level. And since this one already ran from 4 to 26, if they move this 20 some odd points, they're going to be up into the $40 area. And, oops, what else we got here? We recommended in the option trading area this morning to buy the spreads on FEYE, because it was setting up also with a doji best friend gap up through the T-line, that if it opened positive going through this level, it was going to be breaking out, and it had a good strong day. I guess they were supposed to come out with earnings. And so the question always is, do you buy going into earnings? I do if the chart says they're buying going into earnings. So I don't know if they did come out with earnings after hours, but it looked like it was still trading up after hours. I don't know if they were coming out with it today or. The best friend is a doji followed by a gap up bullish confirmation. All right, tomorrow at 4. So, anyways, those we were buying the 75.80s for, I think it was $1.60, $1.80 somewhere in there, with the idea that if it got running, this one also moved from the 40 range to the 75 range. $35 from here, take you up over 100. Due to price, a secondary. Okay. All right, let's see what else we got here. We recommended CAMP also, and there are quite a few stocks that look just like this, where they've come down smack dab to the 50-day moving average, Morningstar signal, bullish confirmation. That one, ABTL, right to the 50. Spinning top, gap up, NVAX, well, didn't get quite to the 50, but there's your little spinning top, gap up, all going into wave 3. And we recommended Kendai also. We started buying it Friday afternoon. Recommended it if it opened positive today, because what has it done? It's already broken this downward trend channel with a Morningstar type signal, and Friday they confirmed that it was going to stay up above the T-line. So if they're moving in this direction, which means if they could break out through here, you basically, again, got wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3, which in this case, if you went from, what was that, $8 to $16 or so, $15, from here, you should be getting up toward the $20 area. Okay, thanks, Bruce. All right, and then we also recommended PEIX, another one that had a hammer signal gap up, breaking this little resistance level. This one's easy. It can still be bought on positive trading tomorrow on a doji sandwich type day. A positive trading day after a day like this just tells you there's going to be more upside. The same thing we saw in RGLD, where we had the doji sandwich. Now we've got a doji gap up. Makes it very simple. If they open up positive, we got a doji sandwich. If they open it lower and bring it back down to this level after a gap up in the overbought condition with a doji, you close out your position immediately. So knowing what should happen after a signal and where it is in the trend gives you a good trading program for when to get in and get out of positions immediately. And we also recommended ARIA because of the slow curve. This is your best friend right here. Whenever you can see that doji followed by a gap up, especially when they gap it up through a resistance level, especially the T-line, that's when you want to be buying, because that's usually the indication that they're going to start running that trend very, very significantly. Okay, let's see. CGEN. There's that little doji gap up, and where did they gap it up to? Right here to the resistance level, and they gap through that level. That tells me wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 on this run-up is going to be this, catching up to the same trajectory as right here, and then probably a 45-degree off of that. And I had a reason for showing that one. Oh, that was because this setup right here is pretty much the same setup for FEYE for breaking this out to the upside. We also recommended BDSI, kind of a doji sandwich. There's more of a doji sandwich over on some of the other charting services, but obviously a very strong J-hook pattern, starting off with a left-right combo, smack dab on the T-line. That tells me they're probably going to take it back up through this level. And I guess I better go down this direction. J-bill, also a good-looking chart because it, come on, there we go, closed with a doji sandwich above the 50. This tells me my next target should be at least filling this gap, number 1, and number 2, up here to the 200-day moving average. It says, looking at the DIA, the overall market peaked a week ago and is now heading down. Is this what we're looking at? I'm looking at a Morningstar type signal in the oversold condition back up above the T-line. Pretty much tells me I've got at least a few more days upside, probably back to the 50. So I guess it's all on what indicators you want to watch to make your decisions. I use the candlestick signals, which usually tell me that's what's going on in investor sentiment right now. We're also still long SSRI, because it had an abandoned baby, your best friend, doji gap up. And this is, notice where it's gotten to, right back to this trajectory. At this point, I'll use today's open as a stop. It shouldn't trade back below there. It should continue in this upside trend. And BIDA also came back nicely after a doji type sandwich down here. This one, more than likely, is going to come back up to the top of the trading range or possibly up to the top of this channel. And CHTP is a very good looking chart. There's your slow curve, and notice how they're gapping it up. They gapped it up through this level today. You definitely want to be buying this one. There's going to be more upside on this one. Anytime you see that slow curve, you've got the possibility of a good, strong price move, and a very quick, strong price move. ISIS also did a Morningstar signal. Anytime you see that Morningstar signal, not necessarily at the end of a downtrend, but at the end of a flat trading area, it acts like that mini scoop pattern where you have a flat handle, the mini scoop with a slingshot effect to the upside. Just seems like a high probability situation that when you see flat trading and it ends with a Morningstar signal, that's told you the last selling, a day of indecision, and then the buying comes in, and that starts flipping you toward the upside. ADEP was one that was pointed out on the chat room today. Notice this, best friend. Doji, smack dab off the 50, gap up through the resistance level. Another doji. That makes this very simple. If this opens positive tomorrow, you want to be buying immediately because the probabilities are that it's going to move up the same magnitude as that candle right there. And if it does, you're well broken out through this level, which means you're probably going to be heading up to this trajectory. So there's your, and this is not unusual to see an uptrend, a pause in the uptrend, and then they take it right back up and continue that uptrend in the same speed, same magnitude. What are you looking at to tell a slow curve from a J-hook pattern? It doesn't really matter. They both tell you the same thing. It's just different terminology. George will get to the individual requests when they get done with all these. So it doesn't matter whether you call it a slow curve or a J-hook. A slow curve is usually going to be much more rounding, and you can see the slow curve, whereas a J-hook might be kind of choppy pullback with indecisive trading involved. And I'm kind of hemming and hawing because I'm trying to see if I might have one here. Again, there's that Morningstar signal at the end of your flat trading. Now notice what they've done, the slingshot effect. So you got wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. Let's see. CUR, C-U-R. Another kind of a little slow curve, but more importantly, you've got doji, bullish confirmation above the T line, and you've broken down through this, or broken up past this downtrending channel. This one you want to be buying. Tomorrow, you just don't want to see it close halfway down this candle because that tells you you're back into this channel that you're trying to get out of. IDRA, a slurve. Okay. IDRA backed off a little bit today because it was now getting up to the point where it kind of peaked out right where it peaked out before. So this becomes very simple. If they need to open this positive and trade it positive to stay in it. If they open it lower and start trading it down, you close out the position because now you've lost that J-hook effect. You're probably going to see a few days of backing and filling. And I point out these factors because if it does open lower tomorrow, instead of sitting there saying, well, maybe it's going to turn around and maybe it's going to come back up or maybe this, maybe that, you make a decision. You already have your decision made prior to that situation that you know exactly what to do based upon how it opens. When trading, is it better to use live chart or will a 15-minute delayed work just as well? V, it depends on what type of trading you're doing. If you're doing pretty fast trading, you probably want to have a live chart. If you're doing a slower swing trading where you're holding positions 2, 3, 5, 7 trading days, you can use the delayed without any problem. This one, SR or RSOL, very simple. A doji after a gap up, if they open this positive, you buy immediately because they'll be breaking out through this downtrending channel going into the next price move. And TNXP, there's that bottoming action. Above the T line, very simple. If this opens positive tomorrow, you buy immediately because it's going to do a doji sandwich. Why are we that confident? Because your stochastics are just coming out of the oversold area. It's not unusual to see a big day, a day of indecision, and then the big day continuing on a positive open the next day. NQ, I guess we're going to do it this way. Dot NQ. This one you can get ready to buy on positive trading. Again, a very slight, slow curve, but if it breaks out through this level, they're going to be taking it back up to the top of this trend channel right here. And OMED, a bullish engulfing signal. Is this anything unique? Definitely not, except for the fact they did a bullish engulfing signal right off the 50-day moving average and closed above the T line. That's just very high probability trade. All you have to do is be buying on positive trading tomorrow and just don't let it close back below the T line. Hold on to your individual signals. You'll probably see a lot of them before we get to the end. And then when I tell Jim to do the double line, then you can type in your individual signals. Let's see, BCRX. There's that inverted hammer, bullish engulfing signal, close above the T line. Another one that you can buy with the prospect of a wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. And this is why I'm saying there's tons of good-looking charts out there. So it's just a function of which one you want to go after. And you've got a lot more supply out there of good-looking stocks than you probably have money to invest in all of them. So if you get into something and it doesn't work, close out the position and move on to another chart that has the probabilities of working in your favor. VISN, another one, left-right combo, closed right on the T line, made this open or this entry very simple. If it opened positive, what's it telling us? Number one, that it's not resisting at the T line anymore. Number two, that it's confirming the left-right combo. That tells me, again, notice that little slow curve scoop type pattern. What's your upside potential? You can pretty much see that you're in an uptrending channel. It could be all the way up in here somewhere, up near the $40 range. And let's see, it's ORMP, Morningstar signal. What makes this attractive is this stock's just gone from 750 to 32. Next wave could be the same magnitude as this wave. I'd be buying this one on positive trading, especially if it came up through the T line. I'd put a buy stop just above today's high. If it comes up through there, it's confirming your Morningstar signal, and it's telling you the T line's not acting as resistance anymore. And let's see, ARNA. ARNA, bullish Harami, gap up. I'd be ready to buy this one on positive trading. Again, using the T line as your stop. Oh, let's see. Oh, I think this is because we looked at CURE and has the same chart, I think, CHTP and Rovi. Oh, Rovi's got a scoop pattern. There's your perfect scoop pattern coming off the, notice what it did when it got here to the 200. Did a Harami, bullish confirmation, doji gap up, doji gap up. Now you've got a scoop pattern that if they open positive, breaking out through this level, coming out of a scoop, you've got a slingshot effect that probably could be the same magnitude as this move right here. It was, yeah, CUR. And Gale, also, see the gap ups? Notice they gapped it down, kind of an island reversal in here right now. They could take this all the way back up to the highs. And PACB. Oh, this one isn't ready. It's getting ready. It looked a little bit flatter, like more of a doji. But once you start seeing these dojis flatten out, you start looking for that big pop to the upside, because not only would you have a kind of a scoop pattern, but you'll have a cradle pattern at the end of this trading. And GALT was one that we spotted yesterday. I say we, the chat room did, kind of the little cradle type pattern, and then a breakout through this level. And notice what they did as soon as they broke out. Everybody and their brother could see it was breaking out. So knowing that this was a bullish pattern setup, you can be buying early and letting everybody else come in later, confirming that pattern breakout. Plug, very simple. If this opens positive tomorrow, you buy immediately. It's going to move in the direction of how they open it. Cradle pattern is essentially the same as your Morningstar signal, except it's got, I usually consider a Morningstar signal a down day, one or two indecisive days, and a third, the last day being a big day, one and halfway up this candle. A cradle pattern has three or more of those flat trading days, trading flat, and then another big candle to the upside. How long from open do you determine that price is positive? Do you wait a few minutes or do you execute the trade at once? Ernie, if I'm sitting here and I'm ready to buy, let's say, for example, just on this chart, if they opened up positive and I could see they weren't backing off, they were starting to take it up, it might be 2 minutes, it might be 4 minutes, it might be 5 minutes. Now, on the other hand, if they open up positive and the pre-market futures are showing the markets are opening down pretty strong, I don't need to jump in until I see what they're actually doing with that individual stock price. So it's usually, if the market, we wake up and the pre-market futures are up 100 on the Dow, and this is opening positive, usually I'll buy right on the open, because it's doing everything that the market's doing what I expect, and the stock is doing what I expect. Let's see, plug, okay. So being able to know, or having the ability, not the ability, but having the knowledge of what should happen, here's that same scenario. Big bullish day with a doji. If they open up positive, we know it's going to move in a positive direction, probably the same magnitude as this. If they move that same magnitude, they're breaking out through this level, putting us into a wave 3. So if this opens positive tomorrow, you want to be buying immediately, because your probabilities, especially with your stochastics over toward, or more toward the down or the oversold area, is that they're going to go positive with it. And if they go positive, they're breaking out. So that should create a very strong day of probably the same magnitude. So I point this one out because when you see this setup, knowing that they're going to move it in positive after a doji, and knowing that this is the magnitude, that's even good for a day trade if you're coming in and doing scalping. And let's see. We had that one. Same thing with what we saw earlier on ADEP. Big gap up, doji. If they open this positive tomorrow, it's probably going to be another day of that same magnitude breaking out through this level. And XYL. Doji, still room in the stochastics. If they open this positive, that means they'll probably go positive, somewhat the same magnitude as that last big day, which means they're breaking out through this level. Going to take you up higher. Oh, it could have been recommended. Whoops. We might have had this recommended over here as a spread. So the spread's still not being hurt. Now it could be just a straight day trade. On one like plug, if it opens up tomorrow and then gets another doji, do you have to be concerned that the next day it could come back down if the market is down? Sure. But that's the same. I mean, you don't change any of the trading rules. If this opens positive, does a doji, the next day the same scenario. It's going to move in the direction of how they open it after the doji. Yes, SGMO has earnings coming out tomorrow. Does Unplug, does it need to open above today's open or just above the close? Just above the close. Now, you'd like to see it open above the open because that gives you that little kicker, but if it opens positive and trades positive, or if it opens lower and immediately starts trading positive, you just put a buy stop at where it opened the day before, because if it comes up through there, you know at least you're going to get a bullish engulfing signal. Let's see. Stop orders. Review your rules for stop at the T line versus or at today's open. Oh, sometimes if this opened positive and started trading positive, you wouldn't want to see it close back below the open because you're a good distance away from the T line. Now, if the T line was right up here, then you'd probably use the T line. But once you've moved away from the T line a little bit, you want to find a spot that tells you the bears are back in control. So if I saw this open here and close back below the open, I'd close it out because it did two things. One, it failed to break out, and two, it's back in this trading range, which was the whole reason to buy it, because it was just about ready to break out of that trading range. And let me see what else we got here. We did those two. We did those. I guess that's about it for today. I was trying to remember the ones that looked very attractive, and then probably, Rovi is probably going to be on the recommended list tomorrow just because of the setup and the high probability that if this does a slingshot effect out of here, it's going to be the same magnitude as that. Well, would that be the case for Kendai? Yeah, Kendai, you don't want to see it close back below today's low. Remember, your stochastics are heading up. You had a bullish signal, a gap up. If it opened positive and traded back below this level, that tells me that the bears have kind of fizzled. And more than likely, it's coming back to test the T line. I'd close out the position and wait for the next buy signal. Okay. Let me see. And then the CHTP is also a good-looking chart with that slow curve. Oh, I was going to mark down the ones that I thought, I guess it was CHTP was one. Rovi was another. I guess if you haven't gotten into live, this one has good potential just because of the initial wave one. Now you've got a kicker type signal on going into wave three. So if they move this up and break through this level, more than likely you're going to be in wave three and get a lot more upside, meaning probably another 20 points to the upside. Let's see, that's right. ADEP. That was the one that has the potential of a doji sandwich breakout. And I think it was a camp. ORMP. Yeah, that was a good one, but it needed to get up through the 50. Yeah, I think, that's right. Camp was the other one that did kind of it was more of a doji on the other charts, but this one can be bought on positive trading. Okay, I guess that's about all I've got for tonight. So is there any general questions on candlesticks? After you've entered a bullish positions on an up day, if next day futures are way down, how do you manage your position versus stops? Still based upon that individual stock price. There are a lot of times where I'm trying to think of an example. Now, I mean, if you get into a situation like this, where you've got a fry pan bottom, it will continue to move positive even though the market was heading down, which I know when we were in this trade, that's what was happening. The market was sluggish, but the fry pan bottom was still working. So that's why we usually like to go with the patterns, because the pattern has information or results built into it that is already taken into consideration what the market is doing. So if it's doing a pattern and it's not it won't be affected as much by by the market in general. We will be doing a 2-day training. I think it's on March 8th and 9th. I think. Write that down in pencil, because it'll be a Saturday the 8th and Sunday the 9th, and that'll be the 2-day full training, where we just go from start to finish. Live splits 3 for 1. I did not know that. Okay. What is the very latest to put on a debit spread before expiration? Usually I don't want to be putting on a debit spread, definitely not the week of expiration. And this is prime time. Let's see, we're about halfway through. I'd still be putting on debit spreads, but the last day I'd put a debit spread on would be on this Friday. Then I think next week is expiration. But next week, either Friday or Monday, or in this case Tuesday, I'd be looking more at credit spreads. Again, aren't as profitable, but the probabilities of making money with them are very high. Fry pan bottom that traded positive through the market was down. Now that was the one we made good money with just recently on a fry pan bottom was VISN. We were buying right in here as it was breaking out, and we sold up in here because it started gapping up in the overbought area. And this is what part of the illustration we used for when to get out of a trade. Notice that it was still pretty close to the T line, but it moved away from it. But it was still pretty close to the 3T line. The next day they gapped it up again. Not only were they away from the T line, but they were a good fur piece away from the T line, or the 3T line. So that's when we started taking profits up in here using the 10-minute chart. And we'll do another exit and entry strategy session before the snow melts. Do we buy live or leave it alone because of the split? No, you buy based on what the chart is telling you. No, it doesn't change anything in the trading. It's still going to be the same charts, just 1/3 the price. Oh, Sam, I will schedule a staggered spread session here. I'll write it down now. Schedule staggered spread session. Okay. We'll try to do that in the next couple of weeks. Yes, next week is Monday is a holiday. Do you look at level 2 market before making a trade. No, I look at my 5-minute, my 10-minute chart. That will tell me what's happening. So a lot of times, let's see if I can think of something that would have given us. Let's see. I don't know whether. Bah. All right. Sometimes when you get a situation like this and it's breaking out, is this the time to buy? Is this the time to buy? Is this the time to buy? Well, that's where I flip back to my 10-minute chart. And on my 10-minute chart, if I'm looking at it, it's looking like this. I said, no, it's not time to buy. But maybe here is more time to buy. It moves up. Is this the time to buy? I'd rather buy when it does this. So even in an uptrend on a 10-minute chart, you're going to have opportunities to buy where it's a lot safer to be buying in. Now, does that mean you sell on a 10-minute chart? Well, if you're this close to closing and it's moved up this much, this pullback isn't really going to affect your daily chart. So if you're pulling back a little bit near the closing, unless they're slamming it all the way back down, you know that your daily chart is still going to be relatively strong. So you just stay in it, because the investor sentiment at the end of today will be completely different than what the investor sentiment is tomorrow, which would be more indicative of what the daily chart is telling you. Are you going to do a session on long-term trading? Yes. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to get my first pick over to Tim so we can start getting it published on our long-term area, except I'm not finding as much information on my long-term pick as I was expecting. So that is also to kind of say, if you've got a stock out there or a company that might have a new product or opening up a new market that looks interesting, that might be a long-term hold, don't hesitate to email that information to me, because I've got some research people that will start investigating to see what type of products might be affecting the future as far as breaking into new industries. Like, as we saw this past year, the 3D copying companies just had very explosive price moves. We want to see what the next price move or next market penetration might be. Yes, on the 2-day training seminar, yes, there is a charge for that. If you're a member, it's much discounted. When is a good time to buy a spread? Usually my criteria for trading options is 4 weeks or longer. I'm just buying the calls outright. Somewhere around 3.5 weeks down to a week before expiration, the debit spreads are much more effective. The reason for that is your maximum profit is going to be made on expiration date, because that's where all your premiums are going to be gone between the one you bought and the one you sold. The further you buy them out in front of the expiration, the more you're going to have premiums affecting the returns on your spread. So you don't want to be too far ahead of the expiration date to put on your spreads. And then the final week, the probabilities of being in the right trade at the right time is much better if you do a credit spread, where you're kind of selling a put spread. Remember, selling a put spread, not buying a put spread, selling a put spread, because if you think the stock price is still going to go up, well, the call spread might not make it, or the price may not go up enough to make the call spread profitable, whereas the put spread, selling it going into expiration, you've got much better profitability, and the probabilities of making money are extremely strong, based upon your correct analysis of the chart trend in general. Do you buy when a strong J-hook or Morningstar develops below the T-line? Yes. Because the T-line is just a confirming indicator. The signals are your first criteria. How do we contact you about long-term picks? John, they will be published. There's going to be eventually two memberships set up that if you're a member of the website, you're going to get the long-term picks as well as everything else. But if you're just a long-term investor, you can buy just the long-term picks area, but you won't have access to any of the other information. It's going to be set up so that people that don't have time to sit in front of the screen and would rather have a longer-term time frame for their picks gives them something to look at. You have a way to balance a short expiration for a spread versus a higher time decay for a short expiration? Oh, man. Marty, I'll have to answer that later because I don't get the gist of it. A way to balance a short expiration for a spread versus a higher time decay. I don't even understand the question. Catch me tomorrow with that. If your positions are down pre-market and indexes are down, how long do you give positions market after the open? We closed out several last week, and in the afternoon, most went back up. Perhaps no way to avoid this. Ella, there is no way to avoid that. The whole purpose of being able to see graphically what's going on in your positions is when things look bad, you close out the positions. But that same criteria is if things turn around and start looking good again, you can always buy back your position. But there's no reason that if things start looking bad to hang on to a position if you can visually see that it's not the direction you want it to be going. And then if you close it out immediately, there's a lot of times where I'll close out a position on a lower open in the morning. It goes down. And then during the afternoon, it starts coming back up through the open. You can always buy it back because at least you know you're going to have a long tail to the downside and probably some sort of bullish candle by the end of the day. So it eliminates your risk other than the commissions of getting in and out of holding on to something that may be heading down. So you close out a position just as insurance that you're not hanging on to that position on its way down. And then you can always buy it back when you graphically can see the bulls will step back in and bring it back up. How to email you with long-term picks. You can do it to Abraham or Steve at candlestickforum.com. You want a short-term expiration so the premium for your spread short leg is minimized. But if you picked a later expiration, you have less time. Okay. All right. Marty, we'll get with that tomorrow. Okay. All right, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 3.7 seconds, do the second double line. Mercy sakes. That's every symbol out there. All right, we'll try to get to most of them. Okay, GADZ. This one you can buy on Positive Trading tomorrow using the T-line as your stop. That's a good, you got good buy signals on this one. IMUC, let's see, let's make these bigger. How about that? IMUC, you buy on a positive open. with the anticipation that if you have a doji sandwich, it's going to take you right up to the 50-day moving average. Okay, Victor. Whoops, you guys have scrolled past me again. BGCP. Nothing that I'd get real excited about. You're just in a nice, slow, steady uptrend. You stay with it. So long as it stays above the T line. FTEK, nothing here yet. Wouldn't be buying this one until you see a buy signal and a close above the T line. ATHX, this one you can be buying on positive trading tomorrow, provided your volume is decent. That's your best friend right there, that doji gap up through the T line. You can definitely be buying this one on positive trading. We did TNXP. This one you buy on positive trading, expecting that doji sandwich also. And GSB. S.GSB. Another one that you can be buying on positive trading. That's a good looking chart. MCP. S.MCP. A doji sandwich setup again. There's your best friend, that doji gap up. Doji, if it opens positive, what's it telling you? Telling you the 50 is not acting as resistance. Should have another good, strong day. BBRY. This one did a doji right on the 200-day moving average. Makes it very simple. If it opens positive, you buy it. If it opens negative, you close it out. If you own it. CCXI. Another one that you can be buying. Notice the indecisive trading right here on the bottom of this trend channel. More than likely, they're going to take this to the top of the trend channel, which would also equate with coming up and hitting your 200-day moving average. Exoma. This one can be bought also on positive trading, telling you the downtrending channel is breached. The Qs, same as the NASDAQ. You stay in this as long as it stays above the T line. And the Russell, if it opens positive, telling us they're keeping it up above the T line. Next target is a 50-day moving average. And the diamonds, consolidated nicely today. If it opens positive, your next target is probably the 20, but more than likely the 50, where they have a little gap right here they still need to fill. KERX, doji sandwich setup. This one you can buy on positive trading tomorrow. And Glue's in a 45 degree. You just stay long. As long as it doesn't close back below the T line. And or right now, if it closed after a signal below the 3T, I'd close it out, because that means it's probably coming back to the T line. CCRN, stay short until you see a buy signal and a close up above the T line. CELG, doji sandwich potential. Buy immediately on positive trading. Use today's low as your stop. It shouldn't come back down through that level. And PRGO, this one you stay short. If you're short and it opened positive tomorrow, I'd probably close out the trade and then be ready to re-short it if it came back down through the halfway point of today's candle. And SEM is getting some strength. This one I wouldn't be afraid to buy on positive trading after your left-right combo today that took you up through the 50 as well as the T line. And if I open positive tomorrow, it would be breaking this downward trend channel right off the 50-day moving average, taking you into wave 3. AER was soggy today, but it stayed above the T line. It has to open positive and trade positive to keep this trajectory going, the fry pan bottom trajectory. Potash, look for a double doji, meaning if it opens higher, it's probably going to do the same type of trading day as here, which would take you right up to the 200-day moving average. Did we do CCRN? Stay short. CYTR. This one I wouldn't be long or short right now. As you can see, it's just flat as a pancake. And FedEx. FedEx, you stay short until you see a buy signal and a close above the T-line. Today was a very simple trading rule. The doji right on the T-line, it needed to open positive to go higher. If it opened lower, it was still in a downtrend. NIHD. This one, if you own it, needs to stay above the T-line, but it also needs to get a little bit of energy behind it. Otherwise, you're going to be in a very, very slow uptrend, which means you might want to move to something else that has much better upside potential. SSRI, this one you stay long, but I'd use today's open as your stop. Wouldn't want to see it come back down through that level. And ONTX, this one has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower, it's basically telling you you're caught in a sideways channel. You don't want to, you probably want to move to something else. It needs something to break it out of this this whole trading range. SLW, this one did break out, not only through the 200, but through this resistance level. This one's going to finish this wave up here somewhere. NLNK stop target. I wouldn't want to see it come back and close below. I wouldn't want to see it trade below this range. Right now, I would suspect it's got another 7 or 8 points in it to the upside. MACK. This one you can get ready to buy. You did a bullish Harami confirmed. Now you need the final confirmation of it closing up above the T-line. I think we did CCXI. Yes, you can be buying this one on positive trading. AEGR. This one you can buy on positive trading tomorrow with the anticipation that if it doesn't show any resistance here at the 50, it's going to the 200. Well, what the heck is that? Oh, not the hiccup. Yep, we're at the hiccup time. If that ain't a fine howdy-do. Yeah, let's do something that we know. That's not even coming up. Okay, now let's see if the rest of them come up. Well, there we go. Eagle did a left-right combo. This one can be bought, but it just needs to get through this level, which means it needs to break through the 200. Well, pshaw. This one, IMMU, you can buy on positive trading. That tells you the consolidation back to the T-line is over. Look for a doji sandwich type setup. Whoops, FCX is going to bring up feeder cattle. Okay, why are we getting such slowness here? Okay, Freeport, this one you can buy on Positive Trading tomorrow. Little scoop type setup. If they break through the 200, they're going up to the 50. INVN, another one that you can buy on Positive Trading because it will be breaking this downward trend channel. Herbalife. Herbalife needs to stay above the T line. If it opens lower tomorrow, you close out the position because that basically tells you you're going to be in a slow sideways channel for a while. AT&T. Well. Okay, enough of this. So, and just hold on, let me move to another chart system. All right, let's. All right. Whoops, that's just great. AT&T. AT&T, you still need to have this close above the T line. And even when it does, the magnitude of return is very slow on this, obviously, an institutional trader. EW, another one where you stay long as it stays above the T line. Just watch what it does once it gets to the 200-day moving average. The VIX, it's stuck right here on the 50. Now you have to watch to see what it does from this level. It's going to move in the direction how they open it tomorrow. And this Sony, you're in an uptrend, but also be aware of the lack of magnitude of price move being an institutional type trader. CTIC, nice J-hook pattern. This one you can be buying on Positive Trading tomorrow. And GTAT. GTAT, you stay long. At this point, if I own this, I'd use today's open as my stop. As long as it stays above that level right now, you want to stay in it. Cool had a good chart. This one can be bought in Positive Trading. Your volume is good on this one also. Nice slow curve on this one. And HSOL. This one you can buy. I'd be more apt to buy it once I saw it come up through the 50. And CMAT, doing a little scoop type pattern coming off the 50. This one you can be buying. That's a good looking chart. It's going to come back up to the 590 area. Same trajectory as what it was trading before. And Visa, well, pshaw. Visa wouldn't be long or short this one. basically due to the lack of magnitude of price move. Right now it's having a hard time getting out of this downward trend channel, which means it might still have that same problem over the next couple of days. Did I skip CERS? CERS, you can buy in positive trading tomorrow. CNK, they can be buying this one. Also be aware of the lack of magnitude of price move. CNS, this one you can be buying, anticipating the 50-day moving average being your next stop or your next target. FONR, this one you can get ready to buy, but it needs to probably get up through the 50 to be a strong contender. CMI, did a bearish Harami right here on the 50. If this opens lower tomorrow, you close out the position and see what it does if it comes back to the T line. Click. This one you want to be out of. You don't want to be long. More than likely, you could be short, but I wouldn't be short in this market. ARWR. Just stay long until you see a sell signal. SQNM, this was a nice reversal today. Big Morningstar signal. This one you can be buying using the halfway point of the today's candle, which would also coincide with your T line. Scotty, if this breaks out, you're going to 100. I would anticipate a positive open tomorrow. Tesla, stay long until you see a sell signal. DDD, still trying to push itself back up toward the T line. Then see what it does once it gets there. And XONE, Doji Sandwich, they got you up through the T line. If this opens positive tomorrow, you can be buying. Ford's having a hard time getting up through the T line, but if it does, you want to be a buyer. Right now, I wouldn't be buying aggressively. We're still holding this long term. We won't be buying until it does get back up above the T line. CarMax, that's a nice fry pan bottom. This one you continue to hold. If it opens lower tomorrow, you close out the position, let it come back to the T line, and watch to see if it does a little cup and handle. CSIQ, this one needs to open positive tomorrow. If it opens lower, it's still stuck in the downward trend channel. CHRW, this one you stay short until you see a buy signal. Right now, I wouldn't be doing, if you were short, you stay short. I wouldn't really be doing anything long or short on this one. Lulu, you can buy on positive trading tomorrow. ONVO, this one you can buy on positive trading. Looks like the 50 is not going to act as resistance. And Starbucks, stay long until you see a sell signal. Yelp didn't have a very good chart today. If this opens lower tomorrow, you come out of the position with the anticipation that this belt hold type signal is going to take you back down to the 50. HIMX backed off a little bit today, but not anything that changed the fry pan bottom trajectory. Continue to hold as long as it trades above the T line. And free, you can be buying this one on positive trading, providing your volume was all right. Let's see, PTX. PTX needs to open positive and trade positive. Just be careful of the volume on this one. Not very big. Electronic Arts. This one, all you can do is stay long, as long as it stays above the T line. We did AER. That one is you stay with as long as it doesn't close below the T line. Still in the fry pan bottom trajectory. ANFI. This one you can get ready to buy, especially if it breaks out through the, say, the $20 area. That would tell you the J-hook pattern's in progress. USO, that's oil. If it opens lower tomorrow, it's going to be stuck in this downward trend channel. It's probably going to come back down to the bottom of the trend channel. And PRAN, you should have been out of PRAN a couple of days ago. Should be out of this one. Stochastic still heading down. You need a very strong buy signal, but there was your signal right there. Left-right combo closing right on the T line. You only had one opportunity. That was that it had to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opened lower, you closed out the position immediately. CBI. Wouldn't be long or short this one. Not enough magnitude or a good direction in it. CMG. This one's going to be in a 45 degree. You just stay long as it doesn't close below the T line. And Zoom. Zoom, I wouldn't be long or short on this one. You can't be short because it's below $5. Find something else to trade. That's a nothing stock until you see a buy signal. Power. Power, you can stay long. This one's going to be moving up after the big morning star type signal. And NE. NE, you stay short until you see a buy signal and a close above the T line. All right, a few more. SE, if this opens a weaker tomorrow, you stay long as it stays above the T line. Not great magnitude in the trade though. VIPS, VIPS. This one you stay long as it stays above the T line. It needs to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. And Yoku. Yoku, you can be buying on a positive open. Just be careful when it gets to the 50. See what it does at that point. And let's see, did we do HZNP? Yeah, you stay long on this one as long as it stays above the T line. We did Kendai. That needs to open positive tomorrow. We did Tesla. NSU. Nice J-hook pattern. Volume. Yeah, volume pretty sketchy. Very small trading. That's a nice J-hook pattern, though. Let's see. Did we do Zynga? Zynga is at a 45 degree. You just stay long until you see a sell signal. STXS. There's kind of your cradle pattern. This one you can be buying as long as it stays above the T line. And we did Gale. We did ARIA. ARIA, you can still buy this on positive trading. PRAN, you should be out of. OREX. This one you can buy on positive trading. You got the little scoop type pattern, but it doesn't have a reversal signal. It's just a pop up off the T line, so you'd be a little bit more skeptical of this one. IDIX, another one that you can buy if it breaks out through this downtrending channel. GMCR. Still in an uptrend, probably going to be in a 45 degree after the Coca-Cola announcement. NPSP, this one's in perfect setup for a scoop pattern breakout, a doji sandwich. If it opens positive tomorrow, you can be buying immediately. Did we do IMUC? IMUC you can buy on positive trading, that slow curve. SBAC. SBAC, nothing exciting here. You just stay long as it stays above this T line. CMCSA, same scenario. As long as it stays above the T line, you stay with it. I wouldn't trade it, but if you're holding it longer term, I'd continue to hold it. BRCM. This one probably is going to move at a 45 degree along the T line. Apple. Apple is probably now heading up. Showed you they supported on the T line, not coming back through it. Now look for the 50-day moving average to be the next target. And OPHT. This one's a good-looking chart. Just be careful of the volume. Volume not bad for a $30 stock, but a little bit light. You can be buying this one using the T-line as your stop. Mark, yeah, the futures don't mean a hill of beans right now because in 10 hours from now, who knows what could be happening and they're way down. So the only time futures are really important is about 5 minutes before the market opens. Goog, all you do is stay long as it stays above the T line. Okay, we're going to call it quits there. Belt hold and Sohu. Yes. So this one you can buy on positive trading tomorrow. What ratio? Right now I'm all long. Closed out the short positions and don't have any short positions on right now. Okay. How do you get the red percentage? Oh, on TCNet you can get algorithmic, logarithmic. I don't know what the other ones are. Ooh, terrible. But logarithmic is just gives you the percentage of each price move. All right. Okay. Are you selling bear call spreads on Pran? No, I'm not playing Pran right now. Pran was closed out when it traded below the T line. There's too many other charts that have good potentials to it in an upward market. All right. Okay, with that, everybody, get a good night's sleep. Bring the dog in because it's too cold out, and we'll see everybody in the morning.